All right, y'all, day one. Y'all, we talked about it. Excited about the opportunities, right? Excited about the opportunity we have. Starts right now. The devil's in the details. Everything we do, detail-oriented, purposeful, intentional, high level of communication.
Caitlin Clark stepped into the Gainbridge Fieldhouse practice facility this morning, and the atmosphere instantly shifted. Cameras were flashing non-stop, executives hovered above from the balcony, and across the basketball world, people were watching closely. Every move mattered. She walked through the doors, calmly made her way to her locker, tied up her signature sneakers, and stepped onto the Salesforce court floor. No speeches, no media sound bites, no carefully crafted statements. She didn't need any of that. Her presence alone sent a clear message to everyone in that building and every team across the league about exactly who she is and where the real power lies. Day one of Indiana Fever training camp is done, and what actually unfolded on that court? It's going to shake a lot of narratives people have been pushing lately, because what's coming out of Indianapolis right now isn't just encouraging, it's alarming for the rest of the WNBA. Let's get into what really happened. Not the version social media was hoping for, not the drama-driven takes designed for clicks, and definitely not the storyline some believe the Fever organization was hinting at over the past week. This is about what truly went down when 16 elite competitors hit the floor for the first official practice. Caitlin Clark controlled everything, simple as that. The ball was in her hands and the offense ran through her every possession. She pushed the pace relentlessly, turning transitions into chaos for defenders trying to keep up. She spotted cuts before they developed, delivered passes through angles that didn't seem possible, and left seasoned pros stunned by the precision. And then there was the shooting, pulling up from well beyond the arc, 30, even 35 feet, right off the logo with zero hesitation, shot after shot, with a confidence that made it look automatic. After 8 long months away from game action, there were questions. Would there be rust? Would she ease back in? Would the injury slow her down? None of that showed up. She didn't look tentative, she didn't look limited, and she definitely didn't look like someone being handled carefully. She looked unleashed, like a player who had been waiting, counting down every moment, ready to get back on the floor and take over. No hesitation, no second guessing, just sharp, aggressive, high-level basketball from start to finish. From the opening whistle to the end of practice, it was a statement, and whether people want to admit it or not, that statement just sent a warning across the entire league. Today, we're breaking down exactly what this performance means, why some of the narratives floating around completely fell apart, and how day one turned into something much bigger than just a practice.
This year's draft, now we gonna jump right into this thing, man. One picture has sent the internet in uproar, bro. That is seeing Caitlin Clark back in the gym. This is the photo from Tony East that had surfaced online. So as you guys can see here, Caitlin Clark is in the gymnasium, the Fever practice facility, and she's ready to go, man. Today is the first day of training camp for the Indiana Fever. Now, what we could expect is a lot of clips. Hopefully we get some clips from Caitlin Clark and the team, kind of seeing them gelling, seeing them getting stuff.
What's wild is how quiet the mainstream outlets have gone after getting this entire situation completely wrong. For an entire week, the loudest voices online were pushing one storyline, that the Indiana Fever front office was intentionally undermining Caitlin Clark. You heard it everywhere. Claims that executives were secretly trying to limit her influence, that drafting a defensive guard like Raven Johnson was some calculated move to undercut her role, that head coach Stephanie White had a hidden agenda to move Clark off the ball, take away her playmaking, and reduce her to a catch-and-shoot option, that the organization, driven by control and ego, was somehow working against its own generational superstar. That was the narrative. Then day one of training camp happened, and reality hit hard. Caitlin Clark was running everything, completely in control of the offense. The pace, the decisions, the flow, it all went through her. The team operated at a high level, sharp and organized. And Raven Johnson, she was doing exactly what she was brought in to do. Defending, competing, learning. She played with intensity, embraced the role, and focused on the details. A rookie stepping into her first pro practice, absorbing everything, working through the system. She looked like a defensive specialist, determined to make an impact on that end of the floor, something Indiana has needed for a long time. time. She wasn't replacing Caitlin Clark, she wasn't taking over the offense, and she definitely wasn't part of some grand scheme to push a superstar to the side. She was a 22-year-old two-time national champion, showing up, putting in the work, and earning her place. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, to be fair, the concern from fans over the past week didn't come out of nowhere, because the way the Fever's leadership communicated leading into camp, that created the storm. Stephanie White describing Clark as an on and off ball player raised eyebrows, and for good reason. Kelly Krauskopf talking about a generational talent needing to adapt to a system didn't sit right with people. Lynn Dunn dismissing passionate fans came off as out of touch. And Amber Cox discussing Raven Johnson as a combo guard sparked real questions about how this roster would function. Those weren't minor missteps. That messaging fueled confusion, frustration, and skepticism. It built pressure around the organization and gave critics plenty of ammunition. But here's the key distinction. What was said publicly and what actually happens on the court are two very different things. And day one made that crystal clear, because when the ball went up and practice began, the plan revealed itself. Caitlin Clark is the engine. The offense runs through her. No ambiguity, no hidden agenda, and if there were ever any different ideas floating behind the scenes, any temptation to force a system that limits her impact, Clark may have already neutralized that possibility long before camp even started. Because months ago, she did something subtle but powerful. She publicly praised Stephanie White's basketball IQ. On the surface, it sounded like respect, but in reality, that kind of statement sets expectations. It puts pressure on the coach to live up to that standard, to lean into what works, to make the obvious decision. That's how high-level players operate, not just with skill, but with awareness. And after what we just saw on day one, it's becoming very clear how this is going to play out.
It's a short time with you and Stephanie as your head coach. What do you appreciate the most about what you're learning from her right now here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I've always admired about Steph, and I've known her for quite some time now, obviously not on the level that I do now, but like, she just has a really, really good basketball mind. And if you listen to her call NBA games or college games, like, her knowledge of the game is far better than most people. Like, she understands how the game is supposed to be played, situation basketball. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to put people in positions to be successful, 1 through 5 on the floor. She's going to put us in lineups that are successful. But also, like, she's going to hold you accountable. She's going to coach you. And that's something I'm really grateful for, but also, like,
Listen closely to what Caitlin Clark actually said, because every word matters. She told the media she knows what she's doing. She knows how to put players in positions to succeed. She's gonna build lineups that work. That's not just a casual compliment you toss out in a press setting. In a league where everything is analyzed and every ego is in play, that's a calculated statement. It sounds supportive on the surface, but underneath, it sets a very clear expectation. Clark was essentially putting it out there. She expects her coach to maximize players the right way, to put them in the exact spots where they're most effective. And let's be real, where is Caitlin Clark at her absolute best? With the ball in her hands, running the offense, controlling tempo, creating opportunities, breaking defenses with her vision and range while stacking assists at an elite level. So if Stephanie White had tried to force a different approach, if she actually pushed Clark off the ball to make room for someone else, it wouldn't just be a tactical shift. It would directly contradict everything Clark just publicly credited her for. That's the subtle brilliance of it. Before a single preseason game even tipped off, Clark had already framed the expectations. She didn't demand control, she made it the logical outcome. And once practice started, the decision was obvious. Clark had the keys. Now here's the part that completely dismantles the drama-driven narrative surrounding Raven Johnson. She looked like she belonged. Period. No hesitation, no signs of being overwhelmed. Despite all the noise, the cameras, and the attention, she stayed composed and focused. She competed, stayed engaged, and played her role. And here's what really matters. Both players shared the floor. They practiced together, ran sets together, talked through screens, matched up in scrimmages, and nothing happened. No tension, no conflict, no collapse of chemistry, just basketball. Aaliyah Boston said it best recently. Fans and media tend to create more drama than the players themselves ever do. And day day one backed that up completely. Caitlin Clark and Raven Johnson aren't caught up in online narratives. They're professionals, they're focused, they're driven by winning, not headlines. One brings elite shot creation and playmaking. The other brings defensive toughness and intensity on the perimeter. Those skill sets don't clash. They complement each other. As long as the system allows it, that combination can work. Now let's talk about Clark specifically, because the details of her performance should have the rest of the league paying very close attention. This wasn't a simple return. She's coming off 8 grueling months of recovery after a series of injuries that derailed her 2025 season. Groin issues, quad problems, ankle setbacks. The kind of wear and tear that comes from carrying a team night after night while dealing with constant physical pressure. She didn't just sit out and wait, she rebuilt everything. Conditioning, strength, rhythm, all from scratch. She tested herself at Team USA camp in December, going up against top-tier veterans. Then in March, she took it international at the FIBA World Cup qualifiers in Puerto Rico and dominated. In one game, she put up 17 points and 12 assists in just 19 minutes, shooting 4 of 5 from deep. That level of efficiency isn't normal. It's the kind of production that breaks models. And now, she's brought all of that back with her. She showed up to Fever Camp looking sharper, stronger, and more confident. Like those experiences didn't just help her recover, they elevated her game entirely. That's what makes this so dangerous. This isn't just Caitlin Clark returning. This is a more complete, more refined, and more prepared version stepping into control.
Darts, bruh. Nothing but darts. Yeah, man. So today's the day. So we should be getting a lot of content today, a lot of news today. I know the Indiana Fever admins is going to work some things out to keep us informed.
The burst was back, and it was obvious. That explosive first step, the one injuries took away last season, looked sharp and dangerous again. Her jumper, smooth, balanced, and deadly from anywhere on the floor, even several feet beyond the three-point line. As for her playmaking, it was precise and calculated, using eye movement to shift defenders and firing passes through tight windows with perfect timing. But more than anything, her mindset stood out. Every drill, every possession carried intensity. It felt like a message directed straight at the organization. She's not here to be limited, rotated out, or reshaped into something smaller. She's not giving up control of the offense, and she's not dialing anything back. And the pieces around her? This is easily the most complete group she's ever played with. Kelsey Mitchell returns as a proven scorer, coming off a 20-plus points per game season and ready to capitalize on the space Clark creates. Aaliyah Boston, now secured long-term, remains the anchor inside and a perfect partner in the pick and roll. Lexi Hull has developed into a serious perimeter threat, knocking down threes at an elite rate alongside Clark. Then you've got Sophie Cunningham bringing edge, toughness, and that enforcer mentality on the wing. Monique Billings adds athleticism and relentless work on the glass. Maisha Hines-Allen contributes high-level passing from the front court. Raven Johnson brings defensive pressure that can take the toughest perimeter assignment off Clark's shoulders. Natisha Hedeman provides steady, experienced guard play off the bench. And rookie Justine Pissett stretches the floor with size and shooting, forcing defenses to extend further than they want to. This isn't just a random roster. It's a carefully built unit with balance, depth, and purpose. There's shooting to punish double teams, there's size to exploit mismatches inside, and there's enough defensive grit to hold up late in games, something that hurt them in the past. Now, let's stay grounded for a second. One practice doesn't answer every question. Real evaluation comes when the lights turn on. We still need to see how Stephanie White handles rotations, minutes, and in-game adjustments when the pressure is real, starting April 25th against the Dallas Wings. It's going to take multiple games to truly understand whether this coaching staff is maximizing Clark's strengths or trying to force a system around her. But if you're looking for a first impression, this was as strong as it gets. Because the biggest question heading into camp, the one that had fans worried, frustrated, even reconsidering their support, was simple. Is Caitlin Clark still the point guard? Is she still the centerpiece of this team? And based on what happened on the court, the answer was loud and clear. Yes. The preseason tips off April 25th against Dallas. The regular season begins May 9th, and based on what we just saw, here's the early call. This Indiana Fever team is not just going to be entertaining, entertaining. They're going to surprise a lot of people, not because of press conferences, not because of front office messaging, and not because of buzzwords or systems, because of Caitlin Clark. When she's healthy, confident, surrounded by the right talent, and playing with something to prove, there's no easy answer for her. No scheme that fully contains her. No defender who can handle everything she brings over the course of a game. All that noise over the past week, that was talk. This is basketball, and day one made that difference obvious. So now it's your turn. What did you take away from the first practice reports? Are you buying into what this team could become, or are you still skeptical about the direction? Preseason is right around the corner, and we're about to get real answers.